All right, take two. Let's talk about how to download, unzip, and run Java projects using VS Code. This is going to be the YouTube video that will be linked here. So first, we need to get the file and download it. So I have a link to this first project here. It's just the very first assignment for our intro CS class. But if you're on Google Classroom, it'll look something like this. So you click this. Now, you might want to click here and do stuff over here. Oh no, you need to know to go up here and click these three dots to bring up this menu and click open a new window. A new window pops up. Now, again, you may want to click here, but don't click there. Go up here to this little download button, click that. This is going to download everything into, and I've got intro one job. Now I have it set to automatically download into my downloads folder, which I will now go find. You can see I got a bunch of junk in here. Oh, this was old versions. I'm going to delete that. I'm going to delete this. I was experimenting with making auto-generated video captions. So the file shows up here. Cool. So I'm going to unzip it. Now on Windows, you have to double click it and do extract, or right click and do extract. There is back here a video linked on how to extract on Windows. On Mac, you can just double click it. But you want to unzip or uncompress or extract so that you get this folder here. Now, the next thing we want to do, as you can see here in the instructions, we want to rename it. And we want to do that because when you submit it, you're going to rezip this folder up and upload it to Google Classroom. It doesn't really help us to have like 80 submissions all named introjava.zip. That doesn't really tell us who's whose. It makes it much more complicated to figure stuff out. So we're going to come in here. We're going to say, I'm going to put my username, which happens to be JSpacco. I'm going to put that there. That's my email username. Great. So we got that much done. Now we need to open it with VS Code. Well, I'll show you how to do that. So we want to get a new window. I have a whole bunch of windows open. I'm gonna get rid of. I'm gonna hide that. You don't really need to mess with that. But you're gonna go down here to new window. A new window pops up. Great. It's got this little welcome thing. I always close that because I don't really care about it or really know what it is. Under File, go down here to Open Folder. Boom. And then navigate to, where did I put it, in Downloads. Now, for you as a student, especially if you're a first year and you have a new computer that like your parents helped you, buy to last you through 4 years of college, don't just leave everything in your Downloads folder. You can see I have like folders for all my classes and I don't know, whatever other stuff over here. You should set up some sort of reasonable system like that too, and not just throw everything in Downloads. I'm only throwing this in Downloads because why the heck not? It's just an example. Okay, so I'm going to open it, and then do I trust? Yeah, I trust the authors. If you open things out of downloads, that's a message that you get. Okay, so can I double click up here? Can I triple click up here? Fine. Fine. There we go. Oh, much better. Okay, so what do we have in here? This is the license file. I put this up on a place called GitHub, which is where a lot of programmers put their code. You don't need to worry about that. This is just saying that if other people like find this assignment online and they can get some value out of it, they're allowed to use it for whatever they want. This folder SRC, that's short for source. Source means the human readable source code. So if you sort of click on these, you can see there's stuff in here. This is actually Java code. Great. We'll talk more about that in a second. Lib is short for library. That means these are like library files or basically other code that's not bundled and built in with the Java, but that we need to run this particular assignment. And so there might be some stuff in there. Now, for the first assignment, we don't have any stuff in lib, but for pretty much every assignment after that, we will have stuff in lib. You don't need to touch it or open it or worry about it really, but it will be there. I just wanted to explain what it is. Bin, I'll come back to. Bin is related to source. This stands for binary. Computer scientists, for some reason, love 3-letter abbreviations. So you see this all over the place, especially anyway, don't worry about it, but you just see that a lot. This .vs code, this is like a configuration folder, settings.json, or JSON, depending how you want to pronounce it. This is just telling you like, hey, the source is source. The output bin is bin, and then the reference libraries, anything in lib with .jar. Jar stands for Java Archive. It's a way to bundle up Java code and distribute it to other people. So do you have to know any of this? No. I just wanted to explain what those things mean. So let's come back here to source. So if we look here at first program, and I need to fix this, but this should say first program, not print stuff. I will have that fixed by the time you download the file. So, we got first program looking great. There's a bunch of Java code in here. Suppose you want to run this. Well, luckily up here, there's a run button. You can just go ahead and if you hover over it, you see it says run Java. You can go ahead and click this, get a little thing. It runs. Now, this is called a terminal, sometimes called a console, sometimes called a prompt, sometimes called a command line. This is how you used to control computers before you had a mouse and could click on stuff. You would just type in all your commands here. For programmers, this is how most things still get done by a lot of programmers in a lot of different systems. We're going to use the terminal, but not extensively. This run button generates all of this code in the terminal, and then you can see it's got some print statements, and you can see in here there's some print lines in here. These are the statements that are getting printed. There's a whole assignment to kind of go through this and learn what everything means. I just wanted to show you the run button. Then you also have things like if you're typing a print statement and you forget a semicolon, this tries to catch it in real time. This will show up red, and if you hover over this, it'll try to give you an error message. If you click the run button, when you have an error, a syntax error in your code, it'll say, Bill failed, you want to continue? Pretty much just say no. And then if you look over here under first program, it's saying syntax error, here. It's also giving an error for this gets a number. This is not an error. This is a warning. It's a little annoying that's not really differentiating between them. This is an error. This means it's definitely not going to work. This is just a warning, which means it will run fine. It just has a resource leak that's unimportant and won't make any difference. Anyway, all of your things will be listed here and whatever problems they have. So you can click on this, it'll jump you to it, and it'll try to tell you what you need to do to fix it. But if it's a complicated error, Java's just not going to know. Now, part of your first assignment is going to be to introduce different kinds of errors and try to figure out what sorts of error messages you're going to see, because you want to get really good at fixing those. Cool. Another thing, this open editors, this is just a list of the editors that are open. You can just, I don't know, I always minimize that because I don't really care about it. Another thing, you notice that this is regular font. This is italic font. So if you click on this, click on this, click on this, it all opens in there. If you want to keep it open, you would double click it. And now when you click on something you don't have open, it pops up over here. But if you click on something you do have open, it highlights it. Just useful things to know. Closing windows, you just X them. Let's just talk a little bit about this bin folder. So this first program.java, if we open up this bin, and then I'm going to make this a little bigger, you can see these are all .java. That means they're Java files. These are, believe it or not, are human readable. I know if you've never programmed before, you're looking at this and you're like, what the hell syntax is this? I don't know. It is what it is. When you're ready to run it, when you click this run button, the first thing that Java does is it compiles it into a lower level form. This, now you can't even read this. And in fact, I will go and kind of show you what this looks like, because it doesn't look like very much that a human would be able to read. It's telling you, do you want to decompile it just to be able to read it? What happened if we didn't decompile it? I'm going to cat it, which means just like print it to the terminal here. Bin first program. Yeah, so you can see, what does this look like? I don't know. It looks like that. So some of it is like text that you can kind of vaguely read, or at least has letters in it. But since some of it's just binary and just shows up as these relatively unprintable characters, this is why no humans go in and try to read class files. But it turns out all this binary stuff, computers, it's like really tightly encoded, and the computer can read it really nicely. But in general, this is the stuff that the humans are going to try to read. So anyway, do you have to know that this bin folder is there or worry about it? No, I just wanted to explain why this is here and what it means, why this is here and what it means, why this is here and what it means. Almost everything we do this term will be in this source folder, source meaning the source code of the program. Now, one other quick feature I want to show you, we opened this folder, but if you look down here, there's also this thing called Java projects. I'm going to minimize this and open this up. This also gives you a view of your project folder, but it gives you a sort of a Java specific, hopefully simplified version of it where you can just see your source. It hides the lib folder and the bin folder and the .vscode folder. And then it shows you like JRE system library. This is just like the built-in Java stuff you have. You can see there's a crap load of stuff that comes with Java. It's all in there. And then reference libraries, there aren't any, but if there were, those would show up here and you would see some information about them. I can count on one hand the number of times I've had to open up these in VS Code or in any other kind of editor environment. I don't usually have to. You can use this view if you want, or if you prefer to use this view, you can certainly use this view. They're basically equivalent. The advantage of having this lower level view is if there's something wrong and you need to go in and like see like that the bin folder got deleted or that get into the settings or something, it is nice to have this kind of there as it is. Terminal, I don't know how much terminal we're going to do. We're going to try to focus on giving you projects where you can use the run button. But if you are interested in the terminal, oh my gosh, I've been doing terminal stuff since the 90s. I can explain it as fast as I can type it. This is my native language for programming. And so not programming, but for like managing the computer in so many ways. So I'm happy to talk more about that. Yeah, so for this first assignment, you're not really going to do very much of your own code. You're going to go in and take some simple code we've put in there and like make some changes and see what error messages happen and so on. There's a whole description for what to do. But when you're done, you need to submit your code for this assignment and for future assignments. So how do we do that? Well, we have to zip this folder. Okay, well, let's go back here to Finder and see what that's going to look like. So if you look here, one of the reasons I renamed this to Intro Java JSPACO is so that when I zip or compress it on a Mac, I would right click and I would say compress. And you can see I have Intro Java JSPACO. On Windows, you would right click this and say something like send to compressed or send to zip or something. If you're not sure or can't remember, or don't know how to do it. Yeah, here we go. How to zip on Windows, how to zip on Mac. I attached a couple of videos I found online just explaining how to do that. And then what do you submit? Well, you submit this version. And remember, it's the version that's been renamed with your email username in it so that when we get a whole bunch of zip files, we can tell who's who and what's what and so on and so forth. It just makes our lives a lot easier. That's everything I have for you. Let's hope. Wait, where are we? Let's hope that the video worked this time. Great. Have an awesome day.